What if I told you that there's a mental technique so powerful, so immediate in its effects, that the universe has no choice but to respond the moment you activate it? For centuries, this knowledge was deliberately kept hidden, not because it was dangerous in the harmful sense, but because it worked too well. Think about that for a moment. A method so effective at transforming reality that those in power wanted to keep it exclusive, controlled, accessible only to a select few who understood the true mechanics of consciousness. While mainstream psychology pushed slower, more dependent approaches that kept people locked in cycles of analysis and therapy, this technique was quietly being used by those who understood that reality itself isn't what we've been taught to believe. Has this ever happened to you? You wake up feeling a certain way, maybe anxious, maybe excited, and suddenly your entire day seems to perfectly mirror that internal state back to you. Or you've experienced a moment of genuine confidence about something, and almost immediately, opportunities started appearing, as if the universe was eavesdropping on your thoughts. Most people dismiss these experiences as coincidence, as random chance. But what if I told you there's an actual mechanism behind it? A hidden architecture operating beneath the surface of your everyday awareness, responding with surgical precision to signals you're broadcasting every single moment. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Here's the truth that changes everything. Reality isn't something happening to you. It's something being projected from within you, moment by moment, through invisible frequencies your mind transmits without you even realizing it. You're not a passive observer in a fixed, unchangeable world. You're an active broadcaster, constantly sending out signals that the universe receives and responds to with absolute precision. Every thought, every emotion, every conviction you hold about what's possible or impossible, these aren't just internal experiences floating around in your head. They're energetic transmissions collapsing infinite potential into the specific form you call your life. The technique you're about to discover operates on this fundamental principle, but it does something that most manifestation methods completely miss. It doesn't ask the universe politely. It doesn't hope or wish or visualize from a place of lack. Instead, it creates such a powerful, undeniable frequency shift in your consciousness that the universe is literally forced to reorganize external reality to match your new internal state. Not eventually. Not someday when the timing is right. Immediately. Stay with me, because understanding what comes next could fundamentally change how you approach every challenge, every goal, every possibility in your life. What you're about to learn isn't theory. It's a precise method that bridges ancient wisdom with modern quantum physics, revealing exactly how to... Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because what I'm about to share bridges the gap between ancient spiritual wisdom and cutting-edge scientific discovery in a way that most people have never encountered. You see, there was one visionary who understood this hidden mechanism better than almost anyone. Her name was Florence Scovel Shinn, and what she discovered decades ago is only now being validated by modern neuroscience and quantum physics. Shinn proposed something revolutionary that completely challenged conventional thinking. She revealed that our brains aren't passive receivers of information, simply recording what's already out there in some fixed, objective reality. Instead, they function as active, creators of experience, tuning into a universal field of infinite possibilities that surrounds us at every single moment. Think about the impact of that revelation for a second. There's a field of pure potential around you right now, invisible, yet absolutely real. Every version of your life exists simultaneously within it. The version where you're thriving financially, the version where you're struggling, the version where everything flows effortlessly, the version where you're constantly hitting resistance. They're all there, waiting in this sea of possibility. But here's the hidden truth that changes everything about how you understand your own power. Your mind acts like a tuning device, a radio dial selecting which frequency you're going to experience based on your dominant internal state. Your thoughts aren't just happening inside your head. Your emotions aren't just feelings passing through you. They're broadcasting outward like powerful radio signals, collapsing that infinite potential into the specific form you call your reality. If this resonated with you, I genuinely love to have you as part of this community. Hit that subscribe button so you stay connected to content that goes deeper into consciousness, transformation, and the hidden mechanisms that shape your reality. And then something extraordinary happened in the early 20th century that shook the very foundations of what science thought it knew. Scientists conducting the famous double-slit experiment discovered something that defied all logical explanation. They found that particles of light, the fundamental building blocks of matter itself, behave completely differently depending on whether they're being observed or not. When no one was watching, these particles acted like waves of pure possibility, existing in multiple states simultaneously, everywhere and nowhere at once. But the moment a conscious observer looked at them, something stunning occurred. The waves collapsed into definite particles with specific locations. The observer literally influenced the behavior of matter. Consciousness wasn't just witnessing reality, it was actively participating in creating it. This wasn't philosophy anymore. This was documented, repeatable scientific evidence showing that the external world responds to the presence of awareness itself. Your state of being, your dominant internal frequency, your conviction about what's possible. These aren't just abstract concepts. They're signals being broadcast into the field of infinite potential. And that field is responding with absolute precision, collapsing possibility into the specific experience you're living right now. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to shift my frequency." This revelation about consciousness creating reality becomes even more profound when you understand what's happening behind the scenes of your everyday awareness. Because right now, as you're listening to this, there's an entire operating system running in the background of your mind, making decisions, filtering perceptions, shaping your responses without you even realizing it's happening. Research in neuroscience and cognitive psychology has revealed something startling that most people never discover. More than 90% of your daily decisions aren't actually coming from your conscious, rational mind at all. Think about the impact of that for a moment. 9 out of every 10 choices you make today, what you say yes to, what you avoid, what you perceive as possible or impossible, are being directed by unconscious programming that's been running since childhood. Your subconscious mind is like a vast storage system, a hidden archive that holds everything. Every casual comment your parents made about money when you were 5 years old, every moment you felt rejected or unworthy, every limiting belief you absorbed from your culture, your teachers, your family dynamics, all of it stored, all of it active, all of it influencing your journey through life in ways you can't consciously see. And here's what makes this mechanism so powerful and so hidden at the same time. Your subconscious doesn't think. It doesn't analyze. It doesn't question anything. It simply obeys. Whatever has been programmed into it gets accepted as absolute truth, and then it works tirelessly, relentlessly to keep that truth alive in your experience, even when those beliefs are actively sabotaging your success, your relationships, your health, or your happiness. But there's another layer to this that's even more critical to understand. Inside your brain, there's a filter called the reticular activating system, and it's quietly controlling more of your perceived reality than you could ever imagine. Every single second of your life, you're being bombarded with billions upon billions of pieces of sensory information. Sounds, sights, sensations, data points coming at you from every direction. Your conscious mind couldn't possibly process all of that. You'd be completely overwhelmed within moments. So your reticular activating system acts as a gatekeeper, a selective filter deciding what gets through to your conscious awareness and what gets screened out as irrelevant background noise. And here's the revelation that changes everything. This filter doesn't operate based on logic or objective importance. It filters based entirely on what your subconscious has been programmed to consider relevant. What you believe internally, deep in that unconscious layer, literally determines what you're able to see externally. If your subconscious holds a belief that opportunities are scarce, that success is hard, that abundance is reserved for other people, your reticular activating system will automatically screen out any evidence that contradicts those beliefs. You could be surrounded by open doors, helpful people offering support, perfect timing aligning in your favor, synchronicities appearing left and right, but your brain simply won't register them. They become invisible to you, filtered out as irrelevant data because they don't match your internal programming. This is the hidden mechanism behind why some people seem to have all the luck, while others keep hitting walls no matter how hard they try. It's not that the opportunities aren't there. It's that their perception filter has been calibrated to a frequency that makes those opportunities completely undetectable. Put down in the comments, "I'm recalibrating my filter now." So the obvious question becomes, if this filter is controlling what you can perceive, how do you actually reprogram it? How do you break through those invisible barriers without creating more resistance in the process? This is where most people get stuck on their transformation journey. They try positive affirmations, standing in front of mirrors declaring things they don't genuinely feel, and it creates this uncomfortable internal friction that actually makes things worse. When you say, "I am wealthy," but your bank account tells a completely different story, your subconscious immediately rejects it as false. That dissonance doesn't reprogram anything. It reinforces the old pattern, strengthening the very belief you're trying to change. But there's a backdoor into the subconscious that bypasses this resistance entirely, and it's surprisingly elegant in its simplicity. Questions. Well-formulated questions act like shortcuts, slipping past your conscious mind's defenses and planting seeds directly into your subconscious programming. Unlike statements that your mind can argue with, questions create a cognitive gap that your brain is actually hardwired to fill. The human mind cannot tolerate an unanswered question. It's psychologically uncomfortable, almost irritating. So when you ask something with genuine curiosity, your brain automatically starts searching for an answer, gathering evidence, building connections, scanning your environment for proof, all without you having to force anything. If you felt value in what we explored today, just tap that like button. It helps this message reach more people who are ready for it, and honestly, it lets me know this content is resonating the way it's meant to. Instead of affirming, "I have abundance," which might trigger immediate doubt, you ask yourself, why has it become so easy to live with so much abundance lately? Notice the subtle but powerful difference here. You're not claiming something your mind might resist. You're assuming it's already true and asking your subconscious to explain why. This bypasses resistance completely because you're not fighting your current beliefs. You're inviting your mind to find proof of a new reality. And once you ask that question, your reticular activating system immediately adjusts its filter to start noticing evidence that supports the premise. Your mind begins scanning for reasons why abundance is easy, recognizing opportunities you would have completely missed before. But here's where this technique becomes exponentially more powerful, where you move from simply adjusting your perception to actually embodying a completely different frequency of existence. Florence Scovel Shinn identified a specific level of consciousness where manifestation stops feeling like work and becomes something closer to inevitability. She called this the God state, not in a religious sense, but as a reference to the highest vibrational frequency a human being can access, where you're operating from a place of absolute certainty and alignment. In this state, there's no separation anymore between what you want and what you have. You're not hoping or wishing or trying to convince yourself of anything. You're simply being the version of yourself for whom the desire is already fulfilled. This isn't achieved through mental gymnastics or forced visualization techniques. It emerges naturally when three specific elements come into perfect alignment in your awareness. First, full presence in the now. not dwelling on past patterns or anxiously projecting into an uncertain future, but bringing all of your power into this exact moment. Second, elevated emotions that genuinely expand your energy field. Real gratitude, authentic joy, deep peace, not as techniques you're performing, but as lived experiences flowing through you. And third, complete identification with your new identity, where you stop acting like someone who's waiting for change to happen and start embodying someone who already lives that reality. When these three elements align, the universe stops responding to your desire and starts responding directly to your vibration. Write in the comments, "I'm embodying this now." But there's a specific window of time where accessing this state and imprinting it into your subconscious becomes almost effortless, and most people completely waste it every single day. I'm talking about the 60 seconds right before you fall asleep. That tiny window is one of the most potent opportunities you have for genuine transformation, yet most of us spend it scrolling through our phones, replaying stressful moments from the day, or drifting off to random worried thoughts about tomorrow. Behind the scenes, though, something extraordinary is happening in your brain during this transition. As you move from wakefulness into sleep, you enter what scientists call the hypnagogic state. Your brain waves shift from beta, which is your alert, thinking state, into alpha and theta patterns. These are the exact same frequencies your brain operated in when you were a young child, between birth and about 7 years old, when you were completely open and receptive, absorbing information without questioning it, without filtering it through logic or doubt. In this state, the barrier between your conscious and subconscious mind essentially dissolves. There's no filter anymore, no resistance, no analytical mind pushing back against what you're trying to install. Whatever. You impress upon your consciousness in these final moments before sleep goes directly into the subconscious and gets processed throughout the night as if it were absolute truth. This is the direct access point that allows you to plant seeds that will reshape your entire perceptual reality while you sleep. So the question becomes, how do you actually use this window effectively? What's the specific process that transforms those 60 seconds from wasted time into a genuine reprogramming session? The technique is simpler than you might think, but the impact is profound. Before bed, disconnect completely from distractions. Put the phone away, turn off the screens, create a boundary between the noise of the day and this sacred transition time. Then lie down and focus on your breathing, letting each exhale release tension from your body until you feel genuinely relaxed, genuinely present. Here's where the technique becomes powerful. Instead of visualization, which can sometimes feel forced or artificial, you enter the feeling of your desire already fulfilled, not the image of it, but the emotional reality of it. What would it actually feel like if what you wanted had already happened? Peace, freedom, excitement, gratitude, whatever the genuine emotion is for you, let it fill you completely. Let it expand through your chest, your body, your entire being, until it's not something you're trying to manufacture, but something you're genuinely experiencing in this moment. And then, at the peak of that feeling, when you're fully immersed in that emotional frequency, you ask your question, not as a desperate plea or a wish, but as a genuine inquiry framed as if it's already real. Why has everything been flowing so perfectly lately? Or, what shifted in me that made this transformation so natural? The question assumes fulfillment. It assumes the reality you want is already here, and you're simply curious about how it happened. Then you let yourself fall asleep in that vibrational state without returning to worry or analysis or mental chatter. But here's where the journey from intention to manifestation accelerates in ways that most people never experience. Transformation doesn't happen through one powerful bedtime session alone. It happens through continuous alignment, through maintaining coherence between your internal state and your external behavior throughout the day. This means micro-actions, subtle adjustments in behavior that might seem insignificant, but send powerful confirmation signals to your subconscious. How does the prosperous version of you organize their morning? How does the confident version of you respond to small challenges or setbacks? How does the person living your desired reality make decisions about their time, their energy, their attention? You're not performing or pretending. You're embodying. You're being consistent with who you've decided to become, and each aligned choice reinforces the new identity, strengthening the signal. You're broadcasting into the field. Put down in the comments, "I'm aligning daily now." If you've made it this far, that tells me something important about you. You're not here for surface-level quick fixes or motivational fluff that fades by tomorrow. You're genuinely on a path of transformation, seeking the deeper mechanisms that actually create lasting change in your life. And honestly, that's exactly the kind of person I create this content for. What we explore on this channel isn't just theory or abstract philosophy. It's practical understanding that bridges ancient wisdom with modern science. The kind of insight that can genuinely shift how you make decisions, how you see yourself, and how you navigate your entire journey. If this resonated with you, if something clicked or shifted while you were watching, I'd genuinely love to have you as part of this community. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next revelation that might be exactly what you need to hear it. Exactly the right moment in your life. And leave a comment down below saying, "This message was meant for me, so I know you were here until the end." I read every single comment, and there's something powerful about acknowledging that we're all walking this path together, supporting each other's transformation. If you felt value in what we explored today, just tap that like button. It helps this message reach more people who are ready for it, and it lets me know this content is landing the way it's meant to. There's a video right here that goes even deeper into how your subconscious responds to specific triggers in ways you probably haven't considered yet. Click and continue with me over there. I promise it's worth your time. I'll see you in the next one.